Alright, so guys, today I'm going to be answering to Despotic on his video on if Magsorc is overperforming. Sorry, is Magsorc overperforming? So yeah, I felt like like, he forgot to talk about a lot of stuff, and I think he did, from my point of view, a lot of mistakes, right? So I'm going to be covering up those mistakes, and I'm also going to show you some numbers Sorcerer can get and that I don't think people really knows about, because I don't know if people, when they be posting the Maxwell videos, they be trolling or not, because I don't know if they really be posting the builds they're really running, since yeah, Maxwell is just retarded damage and it seems like nobody knows about it. I haven't been playing Sorcerer for like 4 years, but 2 days getting on the Sorcerer, swapping my Maplar gear on my Maxwell with bad CP, I was getting all of my abilities to hit harder than everything else in the game other than maybe Merciless, right? And that wasn't enough to convince people that Maxwell was busted. So I took some time to make CP for Maxwell. I took some time to make an actual Itzium balloon version Maxwell build. And yeah, I'm gonna be able to show you, numbers at the end of the video. So let's get right into it because it's gonna be a long video. So yeah. Um, First of all, I feel like some of the categories that he did are not really so good, right? Basically, uh, the first category shouldn't be offensive measure, it should be spammable, right? He's comparing spammable, but the thing is, Unthink Curse and Deep Fisher, the two one who came out the best in that category, aren't spammable. They're abilities that you use, you pre-apply to burst people. You cannot spam Deep Fisher and you cannot spam Curse, right? So they shouldn't be in that category. Instead of Haunting Curse, on a Sorcerer, your spammable is Flame Reach. And on a Warden, your spammable is Flame Reach or Bird, right? Or a combination of the two, but yeah. So the best spammable in that entire list, if you ask me, is Flame Lash. Why is that so? It's because it has the hardest tooltip in there with Swallow Saw and Bird. I'm pretty sure it's the same multiplier, right? Flame Lash, Swallow Saw, and Bird are all 13k tooltip, right? But the thing that makes Flame Lash stand out is stand out. Sorry, is the extra stuff it deals. Like Power Lash, the 360 whip can do up to like 17k damage and heal you for up to 20k over 6 seconds, which is better than Vigor, right? Um, Swallow Saw, the heal over time is pretty shitty, and then Bird, you get like increased damage over the range. So Flame Lash do gives a lot more than those ability, and on top of healing you, it also sets people off balance, which if you place your CP right, you can increase the damage of your proc set like Zon, Shadowrun, and Monster Set and shit. Like proc set and Monster Set by 10% if you make your CP correctly. So it is a really strong spammable. It's also fast as fuck and easy to animation cancel. Like you can block cancel and just use that shit while perma blocking. It's so good, right? So definitely Flame Lash is the best spammable, and I really don't think that's arguable. Um, Second one, I would say that um, it is either Flame Reach or Swallow Saw. I don't know, bro. Like Swallow Saw is hitting so hard. It's hitting harder than Flame Reach, but Flame Reach is like if you have a Master Staff, it's just a little bit under the damage, but it stuns and deals the damage over time. Which the damage over time is quite the same shit as the healing from Swallow Saw, but the stun compensates for the fact that Swallow Saw hits harder, so I wouldn't know which one is better. Swallow Saw, since Nightblade has a really good CC, um, it's not fucking up your combo. Compared to Flame Reach, if you spam Flame Reach as a spammable, you don't really get to choose when you want to stun somebody, right? Because like you're basically gonna stun your opponent on cooldown, but it's not necessarily when you want to stun your enemy. So I know which one's the best. Yeah, Bird is pretty good too. I would put it the same as well. So and then definitely the weakest spammable in here is Puncturing Sweep. And why is that? It's because it's the only channel, right? Channel is so garbage. I seen like Alcool on his standboard fighting Dubstep Demon, bro, and he wouldn't even want to jab. Like, he would just like fucking like use what is it? Twin Slash because he was too scared of jabbing. And then he would like DB Dubstep with a Purifying Light and then start jabbing while Dubstep was half health. He literally needed to hit Dubstep for like 0.3 seconds with jab and he would just get one tap. It's just so risky. It's a channel. If you use a channel, you cannot block cancel, which means you're risking yourself of like you're risking getting killed pretty much. Also jab. If you fight somebody with Mirage, Shuffle, Blade Cloak, you lose 25% of your damage with Puncture Sweep. It's just so bad. The magic more of the healing, and might heal for I don't know like 1 to 2k, but it's not comparable to the like Flame Lash heal. As soon as you stop jabbing, you stop getting healed for 1 to 2k heal per second, right? Compared to Power Lash, you stop whipping and you still get like 6 seconds of like 4 to 6k heals, like upgraded on steroid vigors. Like, so yeah. Also, Flame Lash can get a random 25% damage increase if you fight a fucking vampire, which is kind of AIDS, if you ask me. Also, Flame Lash get bossed by Engulfing Flame by 10%, but we're not going to get into it because I'm going to get into Engulfing Flame 10% damage increase later on, right? So, that's pretty much it for the spammable. Punctured Sweep's the weakest, Flame Lash the strongest, and then I would put the range spammable in the middle, right? Um, yeah, other than that, the second category, bro, uh, instead of offensive measure 2 or something, I don't know what he wrote. I feel it should just be ability that help you get the kill. It's not your spammable, it's everything you use other than your spammable that deals damage, right? So either ability that help you set your burst combo, or either abilities that are dot, because there's two types of playstyle in ESO. There's dot build and burst build. Some builds are in the middle, kind of like maybe Templar and Warden and even Sorcerer nowadays. They can be like between dot build and burst build, but yeah, generally a Dragon Knight is a dot build because it only has spammable and dots. And Nightblade is like in the middle too because it has that cripple and that merciless, and yeah. Sorcerer is supposed to be a burst only class, but now with the Twilight, oh fuck. We're gonna get into the Twilight later on because if I start talking about pets right now, people are gonna think that it's only the pet build that needs to be nerfed, not Sorcerer in general. But yeah, Sorcerer needs fucking buffs, so we're not even gonna talk about pet right now because it's not only pet that needs to be nerfed. And I know that if I talk about pets right now, people are gonna say then just nerf the pets. No, it's not just the pets, right? So yeah. So basically, with those ability, the dots and ability that set you for burst, um, we got Dragonlight, which has Burning Ember, Engulfing Flame, and Flame of Oblivion, right? Flame of Oblivion is more of a dot than ability that lets you set burst because the damage is so weak. It's like 8k damage every 5 seconds. It's not comparable to a Curse, which is like 18k damage, and a Sub Assault, which is like 18k damage too. So yeah, we can't really compare it like that. So, I mean, Burning Ember, Engulfing Flame, and Flame of Oblivion are really strong dots, right? Burning Ember with the heal it gives you is a pretty good ability, right? Nightblade, you get that cripple, which is kind of a dot, it helps you. Then you get that Merciless, which is your big ability that you need to hit for your burst. Sorcerer, you get Crystal Fry, you get Curse, and you get the pet. I'm not gonna talk about a pet right now, right? Just like I said. Templar, you get Vembane and Purifying Light, and then Total Dark too, right? Warden, you get Petra Infection, and then you get Subassault, and maybe even the bird, because you can shoot the bird, time it with a Flame Reach or a Force Pulse, and this way you can get some burst, right? So what's outstanding in that? I feel like Burning Ember, Engulfing, and Flame of Oblivion is the one outstanding in the damage over time, right? And then in the burst, I feel like Crystal Frag and Endless Fury is just fucking retarded. If you like, C Frag is, you'll see what the numbers I came out with like at the end of the video, but it's the hardest hitting ability in the game. It's even harder hitting than Merciless and Sub Assault, right? Thing two is that, right, well, C Frag cannot be mitigated like with, sorry, what is it? Sub Assault. Sub Assault, if you fight somebody with Shuffle, you lose 25% of your damage. And Sub Assault is considered a hard hitting ability, right? So Crystal Frag is kind of the same as Merciless. It's hard hitting as fuck, but it's so much easier using Merciless. Because Merciless, you get about what? One Merciless every like, I would say 7 to 10 seconds. Crystal Frag, you can get like 2 in a row. You can get like 4 in a row if you want. It's just so easy to use. You just shoot them. You don't even think about it. Merciless, you need to be like a fucking doctor with that shit. Like, you gotta think about how you're gonna use that ability, and you have to think about how to make it effective, because it's your main ability. Compared to C-Frag, you're just throwing in there. And, like, yeah. Endless Fury is the same. It's fucking brain dead. Like, you pre-place Endless Fury when somebody's full health, and then you just gotta burst them, and the execute's gonna work. Compared to, like, Impel, like other execute in the game, if you hit Impel at 26%, it's not doing shit. Like, it's doing, like, nothing, right? If you hit it at 24, it's doing its job, but it's not like Endless Fury. You just mindlessly pre-place it, and then shit's gonna happen, right? It happens so many times, bro, that you literally see somebody pre-place an Endless Fury and then put a curse, the dude dodging, and the Endless Fury fucking, like, the curse blows up, and then the Endless Fury just fucking blows up. It's just retarded of an ability. Like, both of those abilities together is like 45k worth of damage. Easily. If not more. It's definitely the outstanding, like, in here. Vengebane and Purifying Light, it is good with Total Dart, right? You place Total Dart, and then you expect the dude to not CC break it right away, and to hit themselves at least once, so you can force pulse at the same time as they hit themselves to create a burst, right? But let's say you got the best Total Dart tooltip you can get, which is 11k. I tested it, and you got the hardest hitting force pulse possible to get, which is 11k. You get 22k worth of burst. And then a sorcerer, if you hit a C-Fry and Endless Fury, bro, that's 45k. Like, okay. Vengebane is decent up, but it's not outstanding. Warden, Fetcher Extraction is probably the best dart in the game if you cast it twice. Probably the best dart in the game, but there's one shit we're forgetting there, is the Magsorc pet. Like the Twilight, which we're not gonna get into it, but yeah, the Fetcher is a really good dart. And then Sub Assault is a really good, like, burst ability. 3 seconds. And yeah, it hits. Oh, I also forgot. I didn't even fucking put Curse in there. Sorcerer has C-Frag, Curse, and Endless Fury. That's the thing about Curse. Curse is a fucking busted ability because it's an upgraded Sub Assault. Let me tell you why. Sorry, what, Sub Assault? Not Soul Assault, a Sub Assault. Subterranean Assault, sorry. Because, yeah. Subterranean Assault is 18 meters range, right? It's true block. You can dodge roll to get out of it, right? Curse can be cleansed, so they both have a counter. If you cleanse a curse, if you get out of a sub assault, it doesn't hit you. Both curse and sub assault hits true block. Both hits for about the same damage. Both hits about 3 seconds away from when you cast it. The thing about curse is it's fucking 48 meters. There's no way to run out of it, right? This literally, like, there's only one class that can purge, right? But every class can get out of a Sub Assault. And Sub Assault is considered OP to the point it's getting nerfed next patch. You know what I mean? Next patch, Sub Assault's not gonna hit true block. I could get it they're doing that because the AoE unblockable ability is quite overperforming. But the thing I don't get is why they're buffing AoE curse damage. Next patch, AoE curse damage is gonna hit super hard. It's gonna be unblockable too. Like, why are you nerfing your AoE ability unblockable? sorry, an unblockable AoE ability to make Curse an unblockable AoE ability that can be thrown at 48 meters. Like, I'm sorry, but that doesn't make sense to me. Curse is already a better fucking sub assault, and next patch they're nerfing sub assault because it's overperforming, and they're buffing Curse. Don't ask me why. So yeah, with Crystal Frag, Curse, and Endless Fury, Maxort has the easier time setting up a burst combo than a Templar, than a Warden, and then I would say Dragon Knight has the easiest time like dotting up people than a Nightblade, a Templar, and a Warden, right? But I do believe that Sorcerer, the ease it has to burst people, is stronger than how easy it is to dot people on a Dragon Knight. Because a Dragon Knight, right? Your Burning Ember can be dodgeable. Your Burning Ember is just not working that great in the first place. It's super hard to hit. For some reason, if somebody just walks a little too fast, Burning Ember is just not working. Engulfing Flame is almost impossible to hit. This targeting issue with that ability, like, there can be somebody right in front of you, bro, you hit it and it doesn't work. Like, and then Flame of Oblivion is dodge rollable and blockable. And the damage is simply not insane, right? So Sorcerer is definitely winning that. First one, with Power Lash, best spammable in the game, it's winning over Sorcerer. Second one, Sorcerer definitely wins, right? Then Defensive Measure, I don't get why. If every class, he literally wrote it, every class is running Harness. He's saying that Dragon Knight, Nightblade, Sorcerer, Templar, and Warden is running Harness. But why, if every class is running Harness, why don't you just make it a constant, right? If every class running Harness, you can't really compare classes for their Harness shield because everybody gets the same shield. So yeah, I wouldn't even talk about Harness. What I would talk about is sustain coming out of Harness, right? So basically, I don't understand why you compared Hardened Ward with Harness Magicka since Sorcerer has Harness themselves. So let's just revert Hardened Ward with Harness Magicka, right? And let's compare all the Harness Magicka together and compare the special shield that Sorcerer has with the special wings that DK has with the special shadow image that Nightblade has with the you gotta compare special ability that's unique to a class with special ability that are unique to other class. You don't compare Harness with wings because Harness is an ability that everybody has and everybody play, and wings an ability that's unique to one class. That's definitely a mistake that Despotic made in his design. If we compare all the harness, the classes that has the strongest harness is Sorcerer in the first place, Dragon Knight in the second with Warden, and then you got Nightblade and Temple at last. Why is that so? It's because Sorcerer can protect their harness with Conjured Ward from any damage. So your harness is gonna give you more resources. Because let's say you get like 2 stamina character on you and 2 magicka character on you. You're getting you're getting like X'd. There's people like fucking jumping on you. Right? You put that harness, you put that conjured ward, and that harness is protect, which means even if the stamina hits you, break your shield, they're not gonna break your harness instantly, right? They're gonna break the conjured ward first. And dots like entropy and whatever fucking magicka dot and magicka ability, light attack coming from the 2 other magicka user are gonna have time to hit your harness 3 times to give you the full resources out of your harness magicka. Draconite can somehow do it because you get wings and shattering shields, right? So if you're getting X'd and you use your harness and there's 2 stamina and 2 magicka hitting you again, right? Well, some of your harness is gonna get some magicka return because your wings is gonna reduce the oncoming damage on your shield by not having like abilities like C-Frag and stuff like that one shot your shield. You get what I mean? Dots like what is it, entropy and other type of dots are gonna be hitting your shield probably before it gets destroyed by stamina user, which is gonna give you some return from your harness on Warden and Dragonite, and then you get into Templar and Nightblade, which you're hard to just get one-shotted. If there's 2 stamina user and 2 magicka user, you might get 1 bonus, but you never get 2. Like, you might get 1. Your shield just gets fucking melted instantly, so there's no magicka return coming from it, which makes Sorcerer the best user for hardness magicka. And then if you compare special abilities, right? Like, Wings is a strong ability, but it's only useful against ranged magicka users, right? Which doesn't make it ideal because it's only useful in one type of situation. Shadow Image is unreliable. If you're slow, rooted, and you drop that Shadow Image, you gotta make some distance between you and the Shadow Image to effectively use it. Which, yeah, in 1v1 it's pretty good. Like, it's fucking AIDS, the minor main applies and all of that shit is just toxic, but yeah, we're not gonna get into that. And Opal is just unreliable. Hardened Ward is probably the most reliable ability you can get as the special class ability. It's a shield. It allows you to take more damage before you die, and if you take a lot of damage, you just keep on spamming it. It's working kind of like a heal because it's like taking damage for you. It's taking all type of damage. The only thing that might be AIDS is like fucking Oblivion damage, but like Shield Breaker is what, like 1 in a million, and then Shield Breaker is getting nerfed next patch. So there's literally no counter to Hardened Ward. Compared to Shadow Image, unreliable. It's working in some situation. Wings is not working against everything. Then let's get into Tempo, Extended Ritual. If you fight in a Stamblade and he hasn't incap you yet, right? There's no point of fucking Extended Ritual. There's no dots on you. Sorcerer, you're not gonna fucking purify a Seafrag coming at you. You're not gonna purify a Subassault. If you fight a Macton, you know, the classical Macton upper world build, Permafrost, Subassault, Clench. What the fuck can you purify? Subassault is placed on the Warden. You can't purify that. You're gonna take the damage from the Subassault. You can't purify like a Shock Clench, and you can't purify like Permafrost because it's on the target himself. So, like, yes, it's useful against Dot. That's about it. You know what I mean? It's situational. It's situational? Yeah. It's Total Dark, unreliable. As simple as that. If you put Total Dark on somebody, right, that's Zerging you, and the guy realizes he's taking too much damage, he's just gonna do what Zergling always do. He's just gonna dodge roll 8 times in a row. If I put Total Dark on somebody, and the dude just start dodge rolling and doesn't attack me no more, I don't get no heal from my Total Dark. And that's not gonna stop the 30 Zergling from fucking killing me. It's something you just fuck yourself thinking that Total Dark is gonna heal you. It happens so many times, bro. Like, you're getting Zerg down, you put Total Dark on somebody thinking it's gonna heal you, and the dude just doesn't attack you and you just die. It's on. You can't put your life on it because the heal is not guaranteed. The heal depends on the behavior of your opponent. So, yeah, it's just not that great. Shimmering Shield, same thing as Reflective skill. It's not useful against everybody. So, out of this, Hardened Ward is by far the best defensive ability because Hardened Ward is definitely as good as Wings. if you're on a range a range character, to be honest, I'd rather fight people with Wings than fight people with Hardened Ward. Because, you know, like, they're basically as hard to, you know, break. Reflective scale. How the fuck you break a reflective scale? It's like 2 light attack and let's say 2 flame reach, and then it's broken. How do you break a 18k shield? It's gonna take you at least 2 light attack and 2 flame reach. It's pretty much the same shit. The difference is Hardened Ward is what, 3k? It's pretty inexpensive. I'm sure it's even like in the 2Ks or something. 2.7k Magicka. And Reflective Scale is 4.4k. I think they dropped it to 3.3k. So, yeah, Hardened Ward is less expensive than fucking Reflective Scale. So, yeah. And even there, Hardened Ward is just overall a better ability because it always works. It's a safe ability run. So, as for right now, Sorcerer don't have the best spammable. They have the best burst ability. They have the best hardness. They have the best unique defensive ability. Now let's get into mobility, right? I don't understand why there's two categories to mobility. I would just put one, and that's what I'm gonna do. So Dragon Knight, you can run Elusiveness, you can run the what is it, the chain for major expedition, and you also have the wings for snare removal, which are like decent mobility um abilities. But yeah, Nightblade, you do get Shadow Image, which you can teleport, and then you get Crippling Glass for major expedition. And then you can also run Mistform, right? You can also run Cloak, which makes you invisible, and if you're invisible, people cannot root you and stun you and slow you. You get what I mean? You don't take damage. It's a pretty decent mobility ability. And then Sorcerer, you get Boss Escape and Boundless Storm, which to me is the best mobility in the game by far. Then Templar, you have Elusiveness, that's it. And then Warden, you got Elusiveness and Bird of Prey. So, which one's the best out of all of them? Sorcerer, by far. Bolt fucking Escape is just fucking retarded. And then if you take Ball of Lightning, you can strike, and everything that's going to be thrown at you to like slow you or to stun you, to stop you from teleporting, is just going to get in the fucking ball. Like, it's so good of an ability. I don't think. I mean, I think everybody knows that Ball Escape is the best mobility in the game. And Boundless Storm, now that they dropped the cost to 2.2k, it's an armor buff that gives you major expedition. It's really fucking good. Let's compare it to Chain. Chain is not that good, bro. It's nobody runs chains on a DK, and that's what's supposed to give you your major expedition, right? And then Bird of Prey, despite it was thinking the expedition coming from Bird of Prey was still 10 seconds, but they nerfed it to 3 seconds. And now it doesn't give you Mind of Berserk on both of your bar. When you cast it for 10 seconds, it just gives it to the bar you got Bird of Prey. So Bird of Prey is not as good as it used to be. It's only 3 seconds of major expedition like everything else in the game. So who got the best major expedition, right? Sorcerer. Armor ball that gives you a major expedition is just fucking good. And it's also cheap, right? Bird of Prey, it only gives you major expedition. I think you put Bird of Prey into increasing your sustain, but Bird of Prey gives you that 20% increased stamina regen, which is the same shit as Tripos gives you, and it does in stacks, so it's only giving you expedition. And yeah, like I already say, the chain is dog shit. So best mobility class in the game, Sorcerer. Second best, Nightblade with Cloak, right? It's just really good mobility because as soon as you get in Cloak, you can move however the fuck you want, right? Nobody, like, people don't know where you are. Third one, I would say Dragon Knight because of that snare removal. And then Warden is the fourth one. And then the last one is Templar. It doesn't fucking have mobility. Yeah. Every class can run Elusiveness, so I'm not going to be considering it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Elusiveness, it gives you like you cannot get stunned and you cannot. I mean, I think you can get slow, but it's just expensive. You don't regen while you're in it. You get Magicka return, but it's just not enough to cover up for the 4.4k cost of that ability. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So for sustainability, I don't even understand why LA Drain is considered in there because every class used LA Drain and no class really used LA Drain better than some. He said that Sorcerer wasn't able to use LA Drain as good as other class, but that's not true because Flame Reach has a dot on it, right? And it's an 8-second dot. And if you don't use your fucking Flame Reach every 8 seconds, well, you do deserve to die. So your LA Drain is proccing. Sorry, your Flame Reach is proccing that LA Drain. And Sorcerer do use LA Drain. So, yeah. Every fucking class use LA Drain, so I don't even know why LA Drain is written there. Like, there's no class that really gets to LA Drain better than others because of fucking every class has dot and every class has light attack, so yeah. Um, yeah, dry essence is not a sustainability. I'm just gonna make it one category. I don't understand why there's two categories over here. So let's compare. DK doesn't really have any ability that's give them resources. They do have passives though, which puts them in a really good spot for sustain, right? Nightblade, they do have siphoning attack, and I believe that's about it, right? Sorcerer, they got Dark Exchange, and they also sustain better than every other class with their harness magicka. Right? They better sustain than Dragon Knight and DK, and they way better sustain than fucking Nightblade and Templar from their harness, right? Templar has Shadow Focus, which to me is the best constant Magicka regen ability. It gives you 480 Magicka recovery. The Blue Betty is about 200. Siphoning attack, I don't know, it's like a flat like value. But since siphoning attack comes like at once at the end of the ability, Shadowlet is like the best constant incoming sustain, right? It's really fucking good. Bird of Prey, I don't understand why you said it was giving Magicka resources. It's not doing shit because you already get those passive from Tripods. All of that also gives you 60% back of the cost, right? That's good. We're gonna get into why it's not too good later on once we get to comparing heals. But yeah, so Mappa is really constant good Magicka return. But that's the thing, right? Um, if that constant Magicka return isn't enough, there's nothing you can get to there's nothing you can do to get more, right? If you're dying because you're out of mag, you just die, right? You cannot spam channeled focus to get more resources, right? Same goes for Warden. If your constant recovery coming up from Blue Betty isn't enough, you cannot spam Blue Betty and survive. You'll just die. Same shit for siphoning attack. If the flat value returning from your siphon attack every 20 seconds is not enough to make you sustain, you die, right? And Dragonite, if you don't get your ult fast enough to get that resources, and the combustion passive isn't enough, you die, right? But Sorcerer got that fucking brain dead Dark Deal shit. You can dump all your resources, don't give a shit, and then just spam Dark Deal. Somebody interrupts you. As soon as you interrupt, you get 5 seconds to keep spamming Dark Deal. You're immune to getting bashed. It's so fucking brain dead. You can literally dump all your resources and then get it all back. That's why Dark Deal is the best sustainability in game. It's so fucking brain dead. It's so overperforming. I really don't get how the fuck that ability works. They should have make it when you Dark Deal, you get shit overtime. The entire thing. Like they started to go about it the good way by making it like instead of getting like 5 or 6k resource, you now get like 4k. Then you get the rest overtime. They should have put it entirely overtime, and then it would have been balanced. But for this reason, Sorcerer has by far the best sustain in the game because their harness is giving way more resources than everybody else's harness. Then Dark Exchange is just brain dead. So right now, Sorcerer, best burst combo. They don't have the best spammable. They got the best burst ability, the best harness, the best special defense ability, the best mobility, and the best sustain. Now let's get into healing, right? Burning Ember and Coagulating Blood. Right, if you pair that up with the other morph of Flame of Oblivion, you do get good heals on a Dragonite. The thing is, Coagulating Blood is so expensive, it's like the same cost as Breath of Light and it doesn't give shit back. So I wouldn't say Dragonite is the best healing class. Burning Ember is a good ability, but sometimes it can be unreliable. So Dragonite has good heal, but I wouldn't say it's the best. Healing Ward, bro, that's fucking Nightblade. The only heal you get is like heal over time. You can run like Dark Cloak to heal yourself. It's okay, but they don't really have good heals. Summoning Twilight. If you run Necro and you run a good amount of Max Magicka, it has a better tooltip than Breath of Light, which means it heals better than Breath of Light. And when I'm talking about that, that's even with the passes we're gonna discuss about later on. When I compare abilities, I'm fully buffed, which means when I'm saying that Summoning Twilight has a better tooltip than Breath of Light, it means it has a better tooltip than Breath of Light standing into the 8% increased healing, right? And when I say that C-Frag is more damage than Merciless, that's even including passive like the 8% more max magicka that Mind Blades have, right? So that's why later on in the passive, that's going to have an influence into why certain class has better passives, right? Because even with the passive that increases the heal of Macblor and the damage of Macblade, they're still not comparing to some other class, right? So Summoning Twilight, my tooltip on that shit was 14.2k on my Magsorc. I had something like 52k max magicka, which is pretty average with a fucking necro build, right? My Honor of the Dead on my Maplar standing in my rune is 11k with Necropotence and Armor and Master, right? So you do get more heals. People are going to say Honor of the Dead gives you back 60% of the cost, but the ability is 4.5k in light armor. Summoning Twilight is 3.2k, which is quite a big difference. It's 1.3k more resources, right? That's the thing. The magical return from Breath of Light is over 6 seconds if I'm not wrong. And if you get Zerg down, you're going to be spamming Breath of Light. So let's say you spam 5 times Breath of Light in a row, which happens a lot when you get Zerg down. You literally spam Breath of Light 5 times. Let's round it to 4k. Let's say instead of being 4.5k, hardness is 4k. It's going to make it easier on the mats. That's 20k resources gone in Breath of Light. The magical return is not going to be there because you're spamming Breath of Light back to back to back. If you cast 5 times the Twilight, that's 15k resources instead of 20. That's a 5k difference, right? You get what I mean? It's actually pretty good of a heal. And not getting into the damage yet. Dark Deal is also a decent healing ability. It's about a 7k tooltip, which isn't as good as 11k, but bro, the ability is giving you resource too, so yeah, I wouldn't be talking too much about it. Total Bar, I feel it's more of an offensive ability. I wouldn't consider it as a heal. You use it more to burst people, and it happens to heal you. So you could put it there. It's pretty good heal. Living Trey, the best heal, kind of heal over time. It's not heal over time, but it's kind of working like a heal over time. It's one of the best heal over time in the game. It's a really good heal, but yeah, it's definitely different than the burst heal. It's making you really, really tanky. But I still do believe that out of all those abilities, I would say it's either the Summoning Twilight or Honor of the Dead simply because of the burst heal. Leaving Treyu is a heal over time. It has a burst heal, but the burst heal is like the equivalent of a dark deal. Their heal over time is really fucking good. It's like a 2k heal per second. If you get crit, like maybe a 2.5. It's like the equivalent of a Vigor with a dark deal mechanics into it for cheap. Like, it's pretty fucking good. But between Honor and Summoning Twilight, I'm just gonna give it to fucking Mapler, otherwise like Magsorc is gonna be winning every fucking categories. And we're not gonna make it about Petsorc in that video yet. So yeah, let's give it to fucking Mapler. Honor that that's the best, right? So Magsorc is still winning a lot of shit. And then if you get into the last healing category, bro, I wouldn't even consider that shit because Cinderstorm, that defense if you're in the circle, then Nightblade, I guess the secondary heal would be your funnel, like Swallow Soul. It's not good enough a heal to consider it. Power Surge, it's not reliable heal. Extended Ritual heals for like 600, and then Bursting Vine with Bear, what is that? Is it the Bear Ultimate or the Tree Ultimate? I don't know which one, but that's a fucking old, like, nah, it's like if we start considering Resto, every class is gonna have a fucking Resto is gonna have the best healing in the game, so we're just not gonna consider that second healing shit. So as a quick summary, DK has the best spammable and wins the spammable category. Offensive ability, fucking Magsorc. The ability that they can use with their spammable to kill people are way better than the ability that other class can use with their spammable to kill people. Defensive measure, harness, since you can protect it, is way better than fucking every other harness. Then Hardened Ward is always a reliable ability. It's good against every class. There's no counter to Harness other than Shieldbreaker. Shieldbreaker is getting nerfed next patch, and nobody fucking runs Shieldbreakers. So as simple as that. Mobility, Bolt Escape, best mobility in the game, and Boundless Storm is probably the best source of major expedition in the game because it reapplies your armor buff every single time you use it. It's cheap as fuck, makes you run fast. Sustain, Darkest Change with the extra return from Harness Magica is out fucking beating everybody just because of how brain dead Darkest Change is. You can literally drop your Magica to like 2k and start spamming Darkest Change and get back to half your resources. Like, on the other class, if you do that shit, you drop your resources to 2k and people are damaging you, like there's no coming back, you're just dead. And then healing, Honor of the Dead, because that's what people want me to say. And it is a strong heal. It's the best burst heal in the game, let's say. Um, and then, yeah, that's about it. Another thing I'm gonna now talk about, now that we're done with it, and we can see that fucking Maxwell is almost best across the board, right? It's the fucking Twilight. The Twilight is a 13k heal, which competes with Breath of Light, right? We're gonna split Twilight into two abilities. The heal, which is competing with Honor of the Dead, and then the damage, which is kind of like a dot, right? Since the Twilight takes two spots in your, on your bars, we're gonna say it's two different abilities, right? So you got the heal, like I said, is already as good as Honor of the Dead, and then the damage, right? The damage from the Twilight with no Daedric Curse, right? Mine with 52k max magicka is 12.2k damage every time it's attacked. It's written on the fucking tooltip. The fucking Twilight hits for 12k damage. Yo, my fucking Flame Reach on my Magsorc is 13k. That Magsorc has a passive that gives them 10% fucking flat damage. So, like, when you hit people that are full health. So the Twilight can hit for more than 12k every time it fucking zaps somebody. I wouldn't say the zap is once every 1 second, but it's definitely once every 2 seconds, bro. I don't know if you guys played Call of Duty Zombie, right? There's that fucking double tap perk, right? It doubles the fucking damage of your gun pretty much because you shoot like twice for one shot, right? That's how fucking the Twilight makes me think about. That's what literally. It's like if your Twilight hits somebody as you're hitting them with a force pulse, it's like hitting like two force pulls. With the damage it's doing, it's the same as hitting two force pulls at the same time. It's just fucking dumb to me. It's retarded. It's the most retarded shit I've ever seen, right? And then if you put the fucking Daedric Prey, bro, it's hitting harder. The Twilight is gonna hit harder than you using your spammable. It's just busted. And Daedric Prey also increases the damage of your pet and, like your monster set pet, right? Like Sharon and the Gydra monster set, which is just dumb. It's so retarded. You get like a double tap perk. Let's compare the bird to an ability like Flame of Oblivion, right? Let's say I'm fighting somebody. I'm fucking whipping him, and then I want to reapply my Flame of Oblivion to help me kill somebody. I'm gonna spend magicka. I'm gonna stop using my spammable and dealing damage to use my Flame of Oblivion, which is gonna, reduce my attack speed pretty much. And then I'm gonna get 3 times 8k damage over 15 seconds, and then I have to use it again. If you run the pet, well, it's fucking there. You get like something that hits way harder than Flame of Oblivion that you never have to fucking cast because the pet's almost unkillable. And then, it doesn't fucking cost you magicka. It doesn't cost you shit. Like, if somebody's not attacking your pet, because there's no use of even attacking the pet dispatch. Like, even if you kill it, they're just gonna put it back up. It's fucking dumb. Like, even if I bash you from putting the pet back, you can just put back both of your shield and then do it again in front of me, and if I bash you again, it's not gonna work. The pet is doing more damage than Flame of Oblivion. It's doing it 2.5 times faster too, because it hits every 2 seconds instead of every 5 seconds. How dumb is that? Like, it's making Sorcerer one of the best dot build right now because it's just how hard the Twilight hits. But yeah. I mean, that's my pet. Even you remove the pet, they're still winning pretty much across the board. And now let's get into passive because the spotting did it, right? So for passives, right? Let's split it into sustain passive and damage passives, right? So if you compare the damage passives, right, you got class like Templar and Nightblade, which gets that 10% more critical damage, right? And you get classes like Sorcerer and Warden, which gets flat damage. If you compare flat damage to critical damage is outperforming critical damage. It's as simple as that. 2% more flat damage is better than 2% more crit damage because you don't crit all of your attacks. but the 2% increased flat damage is gonna apply to even your critical attacks and your non-critical attacks. So if you get 10% more flat damage, it's gonna make it so you hit as hard as somebody like a Templar with that 10% critical damage passive. You're gonna, if they crit, you're gonna hit as hard as them if you crit, because you get 10% more damage to base ability. But then if you don't crit, you also get that 10% damage increase, and the Templar doesn't, right? So Sorcerer having 6% more lightning damage to their Overload, their Atronach, to their Endless Fury, to their Light Attack if they're running a lightning staff, to their Shockers if they're running a lightning staff. And I'm pretty sure I said Endless Fury, Strake, and then the pet, the Twilight, is pretty fucking good. That's a lot of your Magsorc ability, and then the new passive 10% more damage depending on the health is just ridiculous. You can get to a total of 16% more flat damage, not critical, flat. Then Warden probably has the best damaging passive depending on how much animal companion ability you get, because you get 3% more damage per animal companion ability. So if you have 6 of them, you can get up to 18% more flat damage, right? Most Warden only run 3 pet companion ability on their front bar, so that's 9%, which to me is not as good as 16% from the Sorcerer, depending on the ability, because Sorcerer get 10% more damage to everything, but can also get 6% more damage to lightning abilities. So, yeah, I do believe that Sorcerer, depending on the circumstances, have the best damaging passive in the game. Warden second, and then Nightblade and Templar third and fourth. And then when it comes to Dragonite, they don't have no damage passive. They have something that boosts the damage of their burning status, but we're not going to consider that. But what they do have is Engulfing Flame, which increases the damage of all their abilities that are flame damage by 10%. I know it's on an ability, but I feel like it's more like a passive, you get what I mean? So, yeah. Feel like it kind of makes up. Basically, Dragonite, instead of having a passive that increases their flame damage by 10%, right? They get Sustain passive, and they get the passive that increases the damage on Engulfing Flame, and then Dragonite don't have any ability to boost their Sustain. They get their Sustain from their passes, right? So yeah. Dragonite also get a passive that increases their AoE damage with flame damage ability by 6%, which is your ultimates and some of your Dragonite abilities. So it's pretty good. So like I said, Dragonite don't have no ability that helps them sustain, but they got 2 passive for sustain, right? If we compare the sustain passives, Battle Roll and Combustions seems pretty like good and outperforms the other. But since Dragonite don't have an ability that gives them sustain and have an ability that gives them more damage instead, they're pretty much, they're not having better sustain than Maxword. That's what I'm coming up to, right? Because Maxword have damage passive and also have a sustaining ability, right? And then they have 20% reduced cost to all their abilities, right? There's that 5% that you just get naturally, and then there's the other one. If you block cancel your shield, there's a passive that reduces the cost of your abilities by 50% after you block. 1 second cooldown. So you basically can get 15% reduced cost to every single of your ability if you block cancel. And if you don't block cancel in 2019, bro, you better just not play PvP. But yeah, that's about it. And then Templar don't have really, they got a 3% reduced cost of everything, even ultimate. It's not too good. And then Nightblade, they got like a 20% recovery. But pretty much every class has like, even Maxwick has a 10% more Magicka recovery, but recovery in ESO nowadays do so little. I mean, it helps, but yeah, I just don't really consider them too much. So Sorcerer has the best sustaining passive with Dragonite, but since Dragonite has, instead of having a damage passive, has an ability that boosts their damage and have 2 passives to sustain, I do consider that fucking Maxor has Dark Deal with the 2 reduced cost passive is way better than the 2 sustain passive that Dragon Knight have. So Sorcerer has overall better fucking sustain. Because they also get 2 sustain passive and they have a sustain ability. Ultimate wise, Ferocious Leap is a strong ability. It's a damage shield. Like it's a defensive ult and an offensive ult, and it's super quick of an ultimate. It stuns and it's AoE. It's really powerful. If you ask me, probably the best ult in the game, followed by Permafrost. Why is Permafrost not better than Ferocious Leap is because in 1vx, instant damage is better than damage over time. Permafrost also stun, but it's stun after a long time, and it's a dot. And it gives you major protection. It's not upfront defenses. If you're about to die and you pop Permafrost, most likely you'll die. You still have to heal yourself. Compared to Ferocious Leap, you get the shield instantly, you get the damage instantly, you get the stun instantly, which saves your ass. Permafrost, it's not gonna stun everybody as soon as you hit it, so it's not gonna save your life, but it's gonna help you attack without dying. So it's a really good ultimate. It's not really good against healer though, unless you have like Permafrost, probably the best ultimate to stack in group. Because like, if you stack 5 Permafrost, it's definitely better than Ferocious Leap. But yeah, Devouring Swarm, that's not an ultimate, bro. It's half the damage of Permafrost, and then the healing is good, but not as good as Major Protection. Empowering Sweep, I would say, is more the ultimate you're gonna be running on Templar nowadays because it's cheap. It's okay damage and okay damage over time. Next patch, when it becomes 8 meters and it actually works, because right now I miss half the time. Half of the time you cast the ultimate goes up, but doesn't even do damage. It's not because you missed it just doesn't do the ultimate, right? Then Sorcerer, basically Storm Atro and Overload are both overperforming. Overload is doing more damage than Empower Sweep, and you can just like spam it. It's dumb. It's fucking dumb. And yeah, you can just shoot so much in a row, it's retarded. And Storm Atronauts, like AoE damage, a stun, and then the damage over time that hits through block and dodge roll is just dumb. For 30 something seconds, you can get back an Atro before your Atro actually runs out. And then in cap, pretty good ultimate. The debuffs it deals are retarded, like Major Defile, and then a 20% damage increase, which exists nowhere else in the game. Is quite fucked. Not gonna talk about the other thing he talked about. Basically, he said that some classes are running Master Staff, and like that's the thing. When I'm comparing abilities, I'm considering the builds into it. You get what I mean? If I'm saying Flame Reach is a weaker spammable than something else, I was talking about a Master Staff and stuff, right? So it's already considering the builds, right? The other thing too is, like I said, I didn't consider the 8% more healing passive from Templar because when I was comparing the heals, like my Honor of the Dead to the Twilight, even with that passive on, the Twilight would outplay it. So those passives are already considered into my decision to choose which heal is better, right? Same goes for the 8% more max magicka from Macblade. I already considered that to say that Swallow Soul is a better spammable than something else, right? They're considered in my thing, so we cannot take those passives and judge them a second time. The only passive I haven't considered is the 10% more health from Warden. That thing is pretty good, but yeah, that's about it. So now I'm gonna basically show you how, if you take your time to think about a Magical Sorcerer build, well, you can come up with some pretty fucked up shit. Way more fucked up shit than other classes, trust me. I came up with some fucked up shit for my Macblade and my Macton. Like a 22k Sub Assault was on scene and a 36k Merciless was on scene. But that's some next level fucked up. Like, that's some... Like, I said in my video that you needed to nerf the damage of C-Frat by 20%, but to be real, seeing that, I think you should nerf the damage from C-Frat by 50%, because this build is having cap resistances, having absorb damage, and still has really, really fucking good sustain, like better sustain than my Macplar. It's not infinite. Like, if you fuck up, you can run out. But I feel like you should nerf C-Frag, so with the build I'm running, right? You know, you get to have to think about your sustain on a magic sword. You have to try when you're playing a magic sword. It's not like a complete carry. You get what I mean? If you nerf the C-Frag damage by 50%, it would still be harder hitting than my 22k sub-assault tooltip. Like, every single Magsorc ability would still be better than fucking sub-assault. But, don't fucking mind me. I know what I'm talking about.